so slow.
It's there. Stream is live.
Hello there, and welcome to Talkin Bengals. I am one of many hosts on this show, Bernsey as always, Sir Nicholas Hoop. Nick, how we doing, man? We're in the offseason.
I'm going to tell you what, if it wasn't for the flu season going around and stomach bugs and, getting better from the flu, and then all of a sudden here comes a sinus infection, I'd be feeling halfway decent probably. But, man, I'm telling you what, just like everybody else in the Northern Kentucky area, it is flu season. It's hitting hard.
That it is. And unfortunately, those that have been feeling ill, I apologize. And I feel for you. Thankfully, it isn't hit here. So I'd like to keep it that way, So anyway, we are full off-season mode already. And it's been an off-season to say the least. So just give you a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to roll through off-season grades from the 2025 season.
Off-season grades?
Post-pause season grades, I guess, is the best way to put it. We're covering offense, defense, special teams, coaching. Then we're obviously going to talk about the Duke Tobin press conference from last Friday. We're going to talk some league news, maybe even some postseason, as we just continue to start off our off-season banter. So with that being said, Nick, I'm going to pose you to give us your rundown of your post-season grades of the 2025 season.
So looking back in review of the 2025 season, let's start with the offense, right? Offense, I think with or without Joe Burrow, I think we can confidently say, and I think that anybody who ever watches this can agree, I think we're just simply talking about a solid A. I mean, what about the offense, right? Player production. What about the offense did we not like? I can't think of anything. The offensive line blocked well for Joe and for Joe, for both Burrow and Flacco. We had Chase Brown lighting it up. We had Jamar Chase had a phenomenal year. T. Higgins had a phenomenal year. Andre Yoshivas did pretty well this year. We had Mitch Tinsley, honestly, didn't do half bad. We had Samaje Perine back in the backfield helping us out. Looked really good, especially on those third downs where we needed yards. I mean, if I'm missing somebody, let me know. But, Mikey G. Can't forget about Mikey G and Tanner Hudson and Sample. I mean, really about the only bad part of the whole offense was Noah Fant. I don't think he'll be returning anyway, so I think we're gonna just cut the dead vine there. But overall, offense, starting it out. Do you disagree with the A?
I do. And here's my reasoning why. I'm actually going to go. I've tossed it up a couple times. I wanted to go B- to a B+. So I'm going to split the difference and just call it a B. And here's why. Yoshivas dropped a lot of balls. We did have the 3 or 4 game stretch of Jake Browning. Okay. The offensive line struggled in the beginning of the year. Granted, they got better as they got, Reisner in there and Fairchild got his time in. Rivers stepped up when he got to play. So there were things, like you said, Noah Fant, fumbling 3 times for touchdowns. The amount of interceptions that Jake Browning had. I'm going to be solely on the inconsistencies there. And then the other thing I will give it a B is the actual effectiveness of the run game. When we ran the ball effectively, we played really well, and we typically won those football games. When we chose not to run the football more than 25 times, or even 23 times for that matter, we found ourselves in holes, throwing the ball a lot, and we ended up losing the game. So when it comes to that, I give it a B.
Yeah.
Everything else was great. I think Flacco stepping in when he stepped in, he did more than we could ever ask Joe Flacco to do. When Joe Burrow was healthy, the offense was still clicking.
Mm-hmm.
He had some rough patches there, but even on an individual basis, I still give Joe Burrow an A-, even though he had the couple pick sixes. Even for Flacco for his wild one against the Patriots. But the argument of the A or B, I see it both sides. You can go A, but I think the more realistic one, when you look at everything from the 2025 season offensively, I think you have to go a B.
I can see where your argument comes in. I mean, Burrow wasn't, the best we've seen Burrow, even when he was playing. I mean, Joe Flacco, when he came in, he was lights out. Let's just be real. The only game that they didn't score 30-plus points was against the Steelers, and we still won.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I mean, you can't put a lot of the losses that Flacco came in and played in on Joe Flacco, which leads us to the defense, right? The other side of the ball. Now, on the other side of the ball, I think we can plug our sponsor here, W Energy. If you need a pick-me-up, W is your place to go. DUBBY.GG. Use our promo code TBCFB10. Get you 10% off. Heck, you might get a pick-me-up and you might get some better focus, which is what our defense needed this year. Right?
They definitely needed some W.
Our defense needed something, especially the first 10 games. The first 10 games of the season left a lot to be desired. In my heart, I would give the first 10 games of the season a solid F. Okay? Now, flip side, the last, 7 weeks of the season? So the last 7 weeks of the season, I'd give him a B+. Right? A B+. And here's why. So you have Miles Murphy coming out of his shell. You have Joseph Osai. He came out of his shell. You have Slayton. He actually had a really darn good year this year when you compare to what DJ Reader did and when he was a Bengal and we were saying, oh, Reader's the best thing since sliced bread. Right? TJ Slayton did pretty darn well. You look at our linebacking core, they're young. End of the year, they started finding their flow. They started finding their rhythm. It actually didn't look half bad. Now, our defensive secondary, right, we have 2 bright spots. We have Dax and we have DJ Turner. Yep. Okay? Everybody else in the defensive secondary can go. Everybody. Like I'm not missing out anybody other than DJ Hill and Dax. And at that or DJ Turner and Dax. Sorry. Got the names mixed up. So overall, if we were grading the entire season, I would have to be objective and say a D+. D+ for the defense. And that's being generous, I think. Because they're the reason why we're not in the playoffs.
Sorry, you were taking a drink. You turned to take a drink, and I had to turn my mic off so I could actually cough. Had a moment there. I'm actually going to agree with you on the D+. Again, looking back at everything throughout the season, not being the inability, I'm not going to say inconsistent covering of the tight end, the inability to cover the tight end was critical. The lack of pressure between weeks 2 and I'll call it 11 was kind of crazy. The only one prior to him getting hurt that was getting to the quarterback was Trey Hendrickson. And then we had that long stretch before anybody was actually getting to the quarterback, providing any type of pressure. And then it finally just flip of the switch. Miles Murphy is doing his thing. Joseph Asai on Thanksgiving, those guys. Now I'm going to agree with you from on the secondary as well. Dax Hill, DJ Turner. Got to extend those guys now while we still have the opportunity to at a relatively good price. I'm going to plug this now, even though we're going to talk about it later about, the Duke Tobin press conference. He found the bright spots in Jordan Battle. I think they're there. I think he grew a little bit. He still was a very inconsistent player.
He has a high ceiling. He has a high ceiling. He also has a really low floor.
I would agree with that as well. And I think at best we saw marginal from him. So there were times he had flashes of the pan where this is why we drafted him. This is why he's here. But at the end of the day, I still think he was kind of The linebackers grew up a little bit. If you compare Demetrius Knight Jr., when he finally started getting first reps at the beginning of the season versus, at the end of the season, I think you saw that growth and that ability to lead that core. But same thing with Jordan Battle. He's 26. He's going to have to learn to play the position and play it more consistently next year. Barrett Carter had bright spots as well. You mentioned TJ Slayton. I like TJ Slayton a lot, actually. I know a lot of people in Houday Nation like to give TJ Slayton a hard time because they're, again, inconsistencies in the run game and stopping them in the front were definitely there. And I know we haven't talked about it today, but Shamar, again, freak athlete, but you're not getting much else out there. And I'm ready to go cut it, but that's a lot of money for them to let go, especially since they guaranteed 80% of his contract money for his rookie deal.
Let him ride the bench until his rookie deal's up, or trade him.
I think you can trade
have somebody pick up his contract. I mean, I think that keeping Shamar Stewart is not helping anybody.
No,
I don't think that anybody is really having any form of upside by keeping him on our team. I think that defensively, on the defensive line, he needs he needs an edge rusher coach that can teach him what to do. We're not going to have Trey Hendrickson most likely there coming up in the 2026. I don't foresee us making a deal for Trey, just simply because Miles Murphy and Joseph Osai and a couple other guys showed up on defense. And I don't think that Duke Tobin, Mike Brown, and Zach Taylor are going to come together as their team bonding or whatever decision-making skills they want to talk about. And I don't think that they're going to extend Trey. I don't think that they're going to trade him. I think it's going to be one of those, Trey either comes to the realization that he needs to have a breakout year this year for 2026, and he just has a year where he shows out, or he's going to run into one of those years where he just sits out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get hurt, so he saves himself for 2027.
Yeah, and we have all off season to talk about this kind of stuff, but I really think that Trey is most likely going to do one of two things. Either they're going to mutually part ways and let him walk and get nothing in return, or option two is tag and trade, which is what you typically see in the NBA. You don't hear about it a lot in the NFL, but it is definitely a thing that could happen, is that we tag him and then we trade him. And that could come as early as the draft. And yeah, so I don't know if there's too much more we could say about the defense other than there's a lot of growth that needs to happen between now and next August. So moving right along, let's roll right into special teams. And I'm going to lead this one off.
I was going to say, I'll let you go because I'll finish it off.
Yeah. I think Rico had a little bit of a setback this year. I think it was more scenario based than it was his actual punting ability, because we know he can, punt the ball across the field. I think, like I said, I think it was just more situational football and just kind of got the best of him at times. So I'd give him a B. I'm going to go a B minus for, no, I'll go B plus. I'll go B plus for Money Mac. And the only reason is because the only time Mac fell off was the last 2 games of the year. He missed 3 PATs, 2 of those are which were his fault. The one, it got tipped against the Browns in the last game of the year. But I mean, overall, most of the season we were like, "Hey, he's back. He's doing it." He kicked the 67-yarder before they called timeout. So I'm going to give him a B plus.
I think it was a 63-yarder, but still, it was a long freaking field goal.
It was 67 because they would have. This is going to be our new GIF. Oh gosh. Anyway, I mean, in the kickoffs, they didn't allow anybody to break off anything. I think there was maybe like 2 returns, maybe even 3 that even crossed the 30-yard line. So coverage-wise, I give them an A. So I'm going to stick with a B plus overall for special teams.
Yeah, I mean, if we're grading individually, I think our punt team, I think a solid B. Rico didn't have his best year, but did still have a decently good year. I mean, when we're talking about punters and not kicking the ball sideways or backwards, I don't know anything about that, do I? I think Money Mac, I think I'm going to say probably more of an average B. Didn't really have a chance to kick any real game winners or, field goals that would have made or break. It's a make or break point in the game. He made essentially all the field goals that we expected him to make, except for, like you said, at the end of the year. And I think at the end of the year, he just kind of got burnt out of like, what are we even doing?
Yeah.
We're not playing for anything.
Yeah, think about Thanksgiving. He made 6.
Yeah, we won because of him.
Yeah. So
and So, I mean, and then when we think about kickoff and punt teams, just coverage-wise, the Bengals had very good coverage.
Yeah.
They had very good coverage on kickoff team and on the punt team. And then kickoff return, punt return. So, I mean, obviously kickoff and the punt team, I'd give them as a whole an A just for the coverage. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal year. And then kickoff return, punt return, I'd probably give them an A minus, to be quite honest with you. We didn't really have any big botches.
No. And Chuck Sizzle did get a touchdown. So,
yeah. And so I think overall, even with Money Mac not really having like the great year that he had back in 21, I think I would still give him an A overall. I'd give the special teams overall an A, like a solid, like middle of the road A, just simply because there was no game that was either made or lost because of one big screw up on special teams.
Well, the only argument I think fans could have is the last game of the year because he missed the 2 PATs. But
let's be honest, that game –
it didn't mean anything. The game didn't mean anything. The meaningful games, I would agree with you.
Right. Overall, an A. Right. I think special teams. I think that Duke Tobin, Zach Taylor, and Mike Brown, since they all three make decisions together, along with Joe Burrow, which is what we're going to get into next. Hint, hint. But I don't think that they need to change anything on special teams or on offense. I think that our edge rushers are good enough. If we could add somebody, that would be great. I think middle defensive line is where we need to pick up the biggest piece, as well as a safety. I think our linebacking crew, while they were young, they showed some promise. Yeah. Right towards the end of the year. They showed some promise, like they were actually doing something. So I think picking up a safety to take over Geno Stone's spot and letting him walk, and then picking up another, like a slot corner, I think that would be huge.
Yeah. I get full off season to talk all of this draft stuff too. But
let's just get into Duke. Let's get into Duke.
You don't want to grade the coaches?
What's going to happen? Yeah, let's grade the coaches. That's a good idea. Zach Taylor, I would give a C, solid C for play calling. No creative play calling whatsoever. Any kind of creative play calling was literally at the worst time possible, as usual. Let's see. Defensively, I'd say Al Golden, C- to D+. Of course, he had a young crew. About the only experience he had was Geno Stone, and you can create. I guess you had some experience with DJ Turner and Dax, but and then Hill up the middle. But I mean, with the defense not having a whole bunch of experience, you got to give him a little bit of credit for what he was able to do down the stretch. Yeah. And I know that's probably not going to be a popular opinion because, quite honestly, in the NFL, fan base doesn't really want to see coaches fail, even if it's their first year.
Right.
But sometimes you have to fail to get better. Well, most of the time you have to fail to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Zach Taylor as the play caller, pitcher as the OC, I would agree with the C. We didn't see anything spectacular. We didn't see anything special. Most of the play calling felt scripted, right? You start the game, you maybe run a bubble, you might run a screenplay, a couple flea flickers in there. It all felt like typical Zach Taylor offense that we've seen for the last 6 seasons.
Predictable.
Very predictable, which is probably why it struggled at times. You know,
100%.
but at the end of the day, they found ways to make plays. They found ways to get Jamar T and Mikey G open. Chase Brown breaking off a few things. I'm a big believer in the run game still, even in 2025/2026. That the run game is important, and you have to be able to run the football. I want to see more running of the football, and I think you can do that with a Chase Brown and maybe a running back in the draft or a veteran back to go to be a third down back for him. I'm not saying I don't like Taj Brooks. I think Taj Brooks has a bright future. We just didn't see enough of him this year. So for coaching ability as the offensive coordinator, I'm going C and play calling. Defensive side of the ball, I'm going to agree with you again, D plus, because we just had such a long stretch of inconsistent guys out of place, not knowing where they're supposed to be in coverage or in zone. It felt really off for majority of the season. I was doing the Eric Turner thing majority of the season, watch it, with my hat.
I mean,
watching the Bengals.
They weren't inconsistent. They were just consistently bad.
That's true. That is true. And then for the head coach, Zach Taylor, I'm going D plus as well, because he still hasn't figured out how to collectively get the entire team together. As the head coach, it is your job. Yes, if you want to, you specialize in offense, but you have to know all facets of the game, and you have to be a part of that, and you have to be able to manage those individuals and get everybody fired up and playing. I didn't get that. I think that's why we saw that Big 10 game stretch of roller coasters of emotions. I felt like we were watching South Carolina football out there from time to time. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with Zach Taylor as the coach. So,
what about Al Golden? What do you think?
As the defensive coordinator, I'm going B or D plus. Excuse me. So I'm not a firm believer in cutting a guy loose after one season. We saw a lot of growing pains on defense, and he had to get the buy-in. He didn't have the buy-in at the beginning of the season, and I think it took time to get the buy-in from everybody else. So once everybody else got the buy-in, I think that helped. And that's why we saw the growth as the season went on during that last 7-game stretch. So, and mind you, the defense actually played really well week 1. They were the reason why we were still in the game against Cleveland in the opening of the season, because our offense looked like crap.
Yeah.
Going back to my conversation about Zach Taylor, it is your job to get all facets on the same page at the same time. Not offense is playing well, defense is playing like crap. Defense is playing well, offense is playing like crap. Or your special teams, whatever the case may be. That is why I graded him so poorly. And I think everybody else in the fan base did too.
And I think we can both agree, special teams, A.
Yeah, absolutely.
Special teams coaches get an A. I think that the major topic that we need to cover is Duke Tobin. And I want to kind of lead into it a little bit. And I've been kind of hinting at how I feel the whole podcast so far. And primarily when you're talking about the guy who's not the GM but is the GM, right? And your job is to make those decisions that he's being asked, who makes these decisions? Well, ultimately, it does come down to me to say what the decision is, but we don't always make that decision. It's not just me making that decision. We collectively make these decisions. No, you're trying to pass the buck, and you're trying to say that it's not just me making bad calls. You made some bad calls in the draft with picking up Shamar Stewart, with Ross and name the other busts that have happened over the past several years. Yeah, they've had some decent picks. Obviously, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when the vast majority of the picks that you have in the draft are still not playing, they're not still playing football in the NFL.
No.
There's a reason for that. It's because nobody else saw value in the way that they play. So, at the end of the day, who's responsible for putting those scouting reports together? Who's responsible for going out and finding the talent that we're looking to draft? Well, that's Duke Tobin and the scouting team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the 2 scouting guys, right? Every other team has a scouting department that is much bigger than ours, much bigger than the Bengals. And the worst part about it all is that Duke Tobin is so stuck in his ways that he won't fight to get a bigger scouting department.
No.
Why not? It doesn't make any sense. Everybody else in the league can tell you they need a bigger scouting department to have more complete reports, to have more complete looks at all of the football players in the nation. There's Division I, which is the guys that are going for the national title, coming up on January 19th. There's, Division 1A, Division 1B, there's Division 2 ball. There's some guys in Division 3 that may have a chance to look at somebody. There's guys in JUCO playing right now that are stars. They're just too dumb to clear the NCAA clearinghouse. Let's be honest. I played baseball in college with some guys that I'm surprised that they were even able to get a score in the ACT. But let's be real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just because you're not smart in school doesn't mean you're not good at something.
Right.
Right? I know a lot of people who are not good at school. Right? I was lucky enough to be able to meander my way through, all the way through college and make it sound like I was smart enough to pass grades, to have passing grades. Does that make me smarter than anybody else? Probably not, but just means I got lucky. So at the end of the day, Bernsey, our scouting department, they're not looking at the UFL guys. They're not looking at, the Arena League guys. Is there any talent there that we can bring in? They're not looking at everything. They're not taking that holistic approach by, okay, who's standing out, who has the work ethic, who has the talent, who's able to catch a ball in, as a receiver that, looks like Jamar Chase or a T. Higgins, who's able to high point the ball and use just their hands to catch the ball in traffic. Who's able to catch the ball in traffic and, get hit and still hold on to the ball. Who's a running back who can run straight ahead and go north and south on the football field. Who's a defensive back who can stay on their coverage like white on rice. Who, they're not looking for all of that apparently because this guy is very athletic. He's an athletic freak, and we just think he's going to be the best pick overall.
Yeah.
No, that is the dumbest reasoning ever.
Well, Duke Tobin, if you didn't watch the hour and 3-minute press conference, I did because I was on the road. I had a trip out of town that I had to go take over the weekend. And I actually, as it kicked off, I was actually driving through Cincinnati. So that was an interesting time. But he flat out said, hey, scouting department, the guys that we have in the building, we're adequate enough with what we have. They know what they're doing. They're everything like that. I think everybody in Cincinnati sports media went bologna sauce because if you
politely
did, yes, bologna sauce. Because if you did, guess what happens? You don't have a miss like you do in the third round with a Jermaine Burton. You don't have a miss in your first round when you can have a guy like Jaleel Campbell, in the first round. Uh, the other guard from Georgia went in the first round, I believe, and you could have had
Fairchild?
him.
No, not
No, not
Fairchild, the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy who went and had a
Mhm.
great rookie camp and rookie season. Uh, so like those are the things that stick out to me when you say your scouting department is adequate enough. I had an issue with that, but I do appreciate one, again, like I said, it was an hour 3 minute press conference.
Mhm.
He sat there and took it. He could have looked at the I think her name's Kelly or Kayla or something along those lines. Could have looked at her and said, "Hey, 30 minutes cut me out." He didn't do that. He sat there. He took on 47 questions. He beat around the bush for a majority of them. At the
47
beginning,
times.
at the beginning though, he was deflecting the questions and was trying to keep a broad stroke. As time went on and as the interview went on, he was a little bit more vocal about his frustration with the defense. He opened the press conference saying, like, this is not what we accept. This is not what we want expected. We won't accept this
Mhm.
as a great season, and we're looking to fix the problems now. Great opening statement. Later on, he specified the defense has to play better. The defense lost us football games. Again, another true statement. But what do we always say? Actions speak louder than words. You can say that you see it and you know that it's the problem all you want. But
Mhm.
until you show me action, I am not going to believe it because the proof is in the pudding. And if historical data says that you have not been able to do this adequately for 24 seasons or whatever number we're on now, 25, something's got to give. You're going to
Mhm.
run it back one more time. Okay, cool. Got it. I do like the collective piece and giving everybody a voice. But at the end of the day, like you said, someone's got to make the final decision. Who's making the final decision? He says it's on me. Again, I call bologna sauce, and we all know that it's the three-headed honcho at the top of
Mhm.
Katie, Troy, and Mike, because he said it numerous times. Is this Mr. Brown's team?
Yeah. I mean, he alluded to it the whole press conference that, this is Mr. Brown's team. But also at the end of the day, when you're looking at, historically, even without Duke Tobin at the helm drafting people, right? We're looking back all the way to 2001 when Duke Tobin came on. Okay.
Mhm.
It was still status quo from the 90s. There wasn't this big change like, oh, we got Duke Tobin, things are going to get better. We're going to draft better. We're going to have better players on the team, yada, yada. Yeah, we picked up AJ Green. We got Dalton. We had Carson Palmer. Whoop-de freaking do.
Yeah.
We got Chad Ochocinco. Okay, so we got 4 good players in those drafts. Then we had to trade or pick up people on free agents and essentially get lucky on that. Like, you have to be intentional about your drafts. I mean, look at the LA Rams,
Mhm.
right? They went to the postseason and they went in looking to win, and they had a really good shot to do so, right? They won the Super Bowl back in 2021, right? With that season, because they beat us. They're
They went
already
all in it. They won that season because they went all in trades during the in season and their off season prior to the season. They traded
yeah,
for Stafford because he felt like they gave him the best opportunity to win. They went and got OBJ to open up the offense. Their defense, you had Aaron Donald. I think Von Miller was on that defense too.
yeah.
At that year, they went all in, said, we are going to win and we're going to go win now. I think that is a great example. That was the same year that we went all in on free agency. And because of that, we were able to go to the Super Bowl. Whereas we didn't go in free agency that much this year because we were too distracted with trying to keep guys in the building that Joe wants in the building, which is fine. But they didn't focus enough on the draft and bringing in that. I think
guys
they
who are
brought
ready
in
to play.
guys ready to play now, especially when you go, hey, we're going to build the team around Logan Wilson and then turn around, trade him to Dallas, and now you're going to start the guys that are getting ready to play that you just drafted. What? That's not what we said you said you were going to do, and now we're doing something completely different, and these guys aren't ready to play, and it took them forever to get ready. So I'm expecting a big year 2 for those guys at the linebackers. I still think they need help. I still think they need development. But yeah, like have to be able to do all facets. And to go back to the point about the scouting department, 3 or 4 guys is not going to cut it. Yeah. Nobody else has only 3 or 4 guys. Everybody has 6 to 12 guys on 31 other teams.
And I think one of the interesting things that Duke was saying is that, you know, he was trying to take ownership while not taking ownership. Mm-hmm. I can't remember exactly what he said, but one of the questions was, do you feel like this is a make or break year for you? You know, with Joe Burrow at the helm, and you know your offense is really high powered. Do you feel like this is the make or break year for you, and whether or not you keep your job in Cincinnati? And I think that was a really great question. I think it was very fair. Yeah. Whoever that news person guy was phenomenal. I mean, great question. And that's what every Cincinnati Bengals fan wants to know. That's what we all wanted to essentially ask Duke. You know, or honestly, we want to ask Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn, and was it Troy? I think his name is.
Troy Blackburn.
Yeah. So Katie, Troy, and Mike, we want to ask them, honestly. We want them to have a press conference where they're answering questions like, is this a make or break year for Duke Tobin? Is this a make or break year for Zach Taylor? What if it's not? Why would it not be a make or break year? We have coaches like Mike Tomlin stepping down from the Steelers. And thanks, Casey. Appreciate that in the comments. By the way, I essentially just, you know, agreed with you again with my grades and everything, by the way. But, you know, we have coaches like Mike Tomlin stepping down. He's now available. We have Harbaugh stepping down from the Ravens. He's available now. And, you know, we have the coach from Miami, who is a very creative play caller. And it very well could play into the Bengals' hand. That pitcher does get the job in Cleveland. We pick up McDaniel from Miami to do play calling. Now Zach can work on being a head coach and not be a play caller.
This is so if pitcher takes the job, right? Since you're going to go there, if pitcher takes the job in Cleveland, I think pitch phenomenal coach, and I think he works great with the team that we have. But the team that is in Cleveland is not what he has here in Cincinnati, and I think that's going to be his demise if he were to take the job, or if they should offer it to him officially. Now, the other side to that too, you brought up Mike McDaniel, and I've seen that a lot. You know, Mike McDaniel's coming in. If we let pitcher go, I'm okay with not bringing in Mike McDaniel. I really don't see it. Like Miami's offense was super inconsistent. Their playing calling didn't make sense. Honestly, it felt like a how did I see it worded?
Well, like rookie mode on Madden.
Miami Vice drug lore Zach Taylor.
That's hilarious.
I mean, seriously, like they come from the same coaching tree pretty much, because McVay used to coach with McDaniel in Washington under the Shanahan tree, and then McVay brings Zach Taylor in. So they're all part of the same thing. So their offenses aren't going to be that different.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I don't think bringing in a Mike McDaniel is necessarily the right call. You can prove me wrong, but again, it goes back to what I said earlier. The proof is in the pudding. Actions speak louder than words. Prove me that this action is going to actually work out. So
yeah,
but then again, Joe Burrow in this offense is not Tua and the Miami offense. You didn't have Tyreek Hill half the time because he kept getting hurt or he wanted out, those kinds of things. I don't want to see.
He want out?
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see that out of Jamar and T, right? So
yeah,
give me, if pitcher leaves, you got to find me somebody to not name Mike McDaniel. And it's not in the building either.
Well, I mean, Casey's saying that Brian Callahan's going to come back if Pitch leaves.
I mean, I could see it. I mean, we did it with old Hugh.
I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, Callahan's the reason why we went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I don't dislike that idea at all. I think the Mike McDaniel thing, it's a far-fetched idea that fans are coming up with because he's a creative play caller. The problem is that I think he tries to be too creative with his play calling.
There has to be balance.
Yeah, but I think he's too creative, right? Where he's not balancing, the more mundane plays that need to be called with those creative play callings. Casey did say Hugh worked out pretty well in round 2, just not the round 3 when he came back for the third time. That is exactly correct, Casey. You are 100% right. It turned out really poorly when he came back the third time. But, I mean, overall, right, when you're looking at the GM essentially who's taking questions like this, sitting down for over an hour, he fielded 47 questions. I wouldn't necessarily say he answered really any of them with any form of clarity. And I think the fan base is still just kind of in a whirlwind of what?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do to prove to us that so you had 2 seasons out of 24 that you've been here that you've taken us to the AFC title game once or twice and then the Super Bowl once. What have you done in 24 years to prove to us as a fan base that you're going to be able to do that again? You essentially made 2 really good teams.
11 winning seasons.
2 good teams.
Yeah.
Right? That should have gone back-to-back Super Bowls. Because, redos. You have Jesus. And the last time that it was reported to happen was against the Bengals. Whatever. Anyways, so 2 really good teams that should have gone back-to-back Super Bowls. You had, and then before that, atrocious. And then after that, essentially atrocious. I mean, you have to look at the totality of the circumstances and just say, look, yes, Duke, this is a make or break year. If you don't do well and your scouting team doesn't do well, we're replacing you.
Yeah.
Right? Zach, if you can't get this team to work together around Joe Burrow, the best quarterback in the freaking league right now, a generational talent at quarterback, if you can't get this team to work well around him this upcoming year, we're cutting ties with you.
Yeah,
it has to be done. And quite honestly, it should have been done 2 years ago when they missed the playoffs because of Zach Taylor's play calling.
Yeah.
The entire year, they lost games because of Zach Taylor's play calling. And we complained about it every week.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was very few games this year where we complained about Zach Taylor's play calling, other than incorporating the run more. But
Yeah.
majority of the year, we were pretty satisfied with it, which we talked about during the grades. I do appreciate one other comment that he made real quick. Just looking at my my quick bullets here, he did prioritize the defense and the pass rush as top priorities moving forward. Which again,
run defense maybe.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So I mean, here's my thing, right? What does Bengals Nation think about this, right? Because we're gonna want a winning football team that is contending for Super Bowls, right? Not just one, multiple.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I could speak for the entire fan base here when I say this. If the Bengals are not coming out day in and day out on Sunday or on Thursday night or Monday night and showing that they are a Super Bowl contender every game in 2026, you can expect 2027 that stadium to be empty when they play. It's going to look like COVID.
Oh my God.
It's going to look like COVID happened again, and we're not going to see a single fan inside of there that is a Bengals fan. And I'm going to be honest with you. I can't blame a single Bengals fan for doing that, because the only way that Mike Brown, Katie Blackburn, and Troy Blackburn are going to listen is if you hit them in the pocketbook.
Yeah,
we want a good product. We're begging for it. You give us a great product on the field. I'll spend $300 a ticket to go sit in section 200 and something and take my entire family to go watch a great Bengals football team. I'll spend $1,500 on tickets to take all 5 of us to go watch a good Bengals football team. I'm not going to spend any money whatsoever to watch a crappy Bengals football team again. I've done it for 36 years. I'm not doing it again. Tony, that's a great comment. Everybody else moved on, right? Everybody else moved on.
And that's a great segment into what our next topic was, because we've kind of covered everything about the Bengals to this point. So if you haven't seen the news recently and you live under a rock, obviously Harbaugh gets let go last week. Tomlin loses his football game yesterday, 30-6, and they decide that they're going to mutually part ways and let him step down, if you will. So Zach Taylor is the cheese in this situation, and he stands alone in the AFC North as the only remaining coach. He's now one of the longest tenured head coaches with their organization at this point. And it's just crazy to me that we would think that after a 6-11 season this year, a 9-8 the year before, 9-8 the year before, 3 straight years of missing the postseason, that is okay. He's going to lead our guys, and he's going to be able to do that. And I'm not with it. Now, you had led to something before the show that made you think that there was a possibility that because they let Tomlin step down, that the Bengals might still move on from Zach Taylor.
I mean, let's be honest. All right. The Ravens, what was it, GM or head coach? Yeah. Right? Let's just be honest. Right? The Ravens head coach, at the end of the day, what he did, or whatever position he is, he's in a press conference and the news just broke, and he goes, wait, what'd you say? You said Mike Tomlin stepped down? Okay. And he's smiling. He was excited that now he has a chance to go steal Mike Tomlin from the market. I mean,
wouldn't it be interesting? So say Zach Taylor stays in Cincinnati. Yeah, Stefanski, you have Harbaugh, and Tomlin, and they could literally just do a big circle. Harbaugh goes one way, Tomlin goes the other, and Stefanski takes the third. Well, that would be insane. But Tony, again, I agree with you. I think it's going to look like 2019. It might even look like Great American Ballpark out there, where you're going to see majority of visiting fans versus actual Cincinnati fans in the ballpark. So, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting year.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I would be great with dropping Zach Taylor and picking up Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
I mean, quite honestly, he's a great head coach. He's a great leader of the players. He knows how to lead a team. He's got all the qualifications you ever wanted. He's got Super Bowl titles under his belt. He knows how to coach good football teams. The Bengals are a good football team.
Yeah.
They just need leaders to step up, both on the coaching side and on the player side.
I find it very fitting for Tomlin to tie Marvin Lewis for 7 consecutive losses in the postseason.
Come to the Bengals and then break that stretch. Come over to Cincinnati. Mike, come on over. I know you listen. Come on over to Cincinnati, and you can help us with getting a Super Bowl. We can break that drought of never winning one, and you can break your drought of the 7 games in a row in the postseason loses.
Yeah. So Tomlin, I think he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great coach. The team that he won with was an inherited team with Cowher. That wasn't his guys. That was Cowher's guys. And I think you saw that as the seasons went on, that, hey, I can win with these guys as long as we're going to keep them. But as those guys started to retire, get old, phase out of the league, leave in free agency, what have you, he had a more difficult time trying to lead those guys. You know, you had an Antonio Brown, which I still think Vontaze is the reason, but who cares? You had, look at George Pickens. Granted, he still had a lot of drops and stopped runs in Dallas, but, a great player, just stopped playing offense. He hasn't had a quarterback really since Roethlisberger retired. It's been a roller coaster of emotions there for them. And this is not talking Steelers by any means, but just because they're a divisional foe, you see them twice a year. You kind of keep a tab on them. It's very interesting that they haven't had a quarterback since Roethlisberger and that they continue to just plummet. I'm here for it, and I love it, and I love to see it because I despise everything that's Pittsburgh. I will never step foot in that city, not even if the Bengals are playing there. No, I've never stepped foot in Pittsburgh.
I have.
Not once.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. It was to play baseball. But I've been there.
My wife must be thinking of me because my nose is itching right now. So, but anyway, I digress. So there's that. Then you have the Harbaugh situation. I think both of these coaches sit out this year. I don't think either one of them come back to coaching. I think they need a break. The 2 longest tenured coaches, one was 18 years, the other was 17. And that's a lot to do for a long period of time. So I think both of those guys, I think they're off the market. I think they're going to ride it out, and then they'll come back in 27 with whatever coaching carousel we see across the league. Another offseason topic I want to talk to you now that we've talked about the coaching carousel of the AFC North is there seems to be some growing speculation that DJ Reader is not going to return to the Lions. Would you want to bring DJ Reader back? I agree with you. There's been a lot of people in the comments on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it saying, hey, you can come back to Cincinnati. I personally, I'm not for it. I think he's getting older. I think he's okay to nostalgic act like, oh, he was great when he was here. Look at Geno Atkins. Look at Carlos Dunlap. Look at the great players that they were for us. We let them go. They had, Dunlap had a great years in Seattle and everything like that. Geno kind of fell off, which was kind of surprising. But it just, sometimes it's okay to let the wins and the sales take them off to the sunset. So
let him
I'm
retire.
good with it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm good with letting him retire and calling it a career. Right.
Yeah.
DJ Reader does not need to be a Bengal again.
I think we should have re-signed him instead of letting him go by all means. But bringing him back at this point in his career, I'm okay with not going to find a younger guy.
I mean, we have TJ Slayton, who's proven just as effective, if not more. I mean, we can go into the draft and pick up an interior defensive lineman who's younger, who's cheaper, and who has more upside.
No. Most definitely.
So I have an off-season topic. What is your favorite? So imagine this. You're sick, right? What is your go-to movie franchise to just veg out on the couch to watch when you're sick?
So,
now franchise, right? Not just one film.
No, I know.
So we're talking about
movies is hard
volumes.
Because when I'm sick, I typically gravitate to television shows that I can binge because I'm gonna doze off 100%. That I did that as a kid. I will do it now. Now, if I had to, I'd probably go. Since we're talking franchises, I'm probably gonna go Star Wars. And that's just because I really enjoy Star Wars. I've seen them enough times that if I do doze off, that I'm okay, that I miss some spots. But yeah, I'm going Star Wars would probably be my top.
Mine is total franchise, just in general, Star Wars takes the cake 100%. But I do love me some Rocky, right? Casey says Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is a great franchise. But for me, I'm looking at more of I'm relaxing. I know it's going to happen. I've watched Indiana Jones so many times. I know it's going to happen, but it's still exciting, right? It's something I want to watch in a good mood because, Harrison Ford is just hilarious. And, you also have, what's the Scottish actor's name? I can't remember. Used to play James Bond.
Daniel Craig?
No, the older guy. Jeez, oh Pete's.
Pierce Brosnan?
Casey, come into the comments. Who's Indiana Jones's dad in that? I can't remember his name. Save my life.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking. I haven't seen Indiana Jones in so long. Sorry, Casey. I'm not as a big Indiana Jones fan as you. Now, if I was not,
Sean Connery. That man is a legend, and I absolutely loved him in all the Indiana Jones movies he was in. But at the end of the day, Star Wars has to take the cake because you can watch it for days on end and still have more movies to watch or more essentially episodes to watch, right? Because you also have Mandalorian that's broken into it. You have Clone Wars that's broken into it. You have, what's the other one? It's like Andor Wars or something. Or Andor, and there's so many different breakoffs that you can go into.
Anoka.
Yeah. I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't either.
But Andor and Mandalorian was pretty good.
See, I haven't finished Mandalorian. I haven't seen Mandalorian. I haven't seen any of the TV shows really. I've sticking solely to the main 9 of the storylines. I did watch Rogue One, so I guess the 10 films, if you will.
Yeah.
But it's not that I don't want to, but usually when I get time to watch TV and the shows that I want to watch, I'm dog tired. We just put the kids to bed, and I'm not going to stay awake. I turn the TV on, I'm falling asleep. 10 out of 10 times. So,
we're very blessed. Our old TV, when we replaced the one in the living room, we were able to just to put it up in our office, and we have like a beanbag chair and some kids' furniture and stuff in the office. So the kids were like, if you don't want to watch what we're watching, go in the office. Well,
nice.
Turns out my kids like watching Star Wars too. So
Nice.
It's a good, clean film. It's not real gory. It doesn't really have very many, very much intimacy in it, and not really anything that you really have to worry about with kids.
For sure. Absolutely.
That's why it's my go-to, because it's also kid friendly.
So I'm going to flip it on you. Since you went franchise movies, I'm going to go with TV shows. Casey, we have a group chat to the side, and Casey's just watching from a distance, and he just sent us a nice picture. Oh gosh, that should be the thumbnail for this episode. Nick's talking, and I just anyway. So, TV show.
Favorite TV show to binge watch?
Binge while sick.
Oh my gosh. It's got to be either Everybody Loves Raymond or King of Queens. Just classics. Seinfeld is also up there. Right? The literally the show that went on forever that is about nothing. I mean, also a classic. So take your pick. Seinfeld, Everybody Loves Raymond, King of Queens, great. And Casey, you're wrong. Right. 7 through 9 do not suck. All right.
Oh, I love it.
Once again, I'm correct.
Tony, you're gonna have to explain to us Henry Jones. I'm not following Henry Jones. So drop a comment. I would like to know what you mean about.
Is there
Henry
a TV
Jones.
show called Henry Jones? Let me look that up.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna get on the Google machine.
Anyway, while you do that, so you and I are millennials through and through, unfortunately. So we grew up as a kid. I did all the craziness, right? Jerry Springer, Maury, Ricky Lake. Yes, I did watch Ricky Lake. But when I'm feeling down, my go-to, what's the word I was looking for?
Oh, dude.
What?
Henry Jones. Yeah, great actor. He was in Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. He was in Handyman and Leroy Jessup in The Bad Seed. Absolutely. Okay. He was also in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
So you mean to tell me, you hear that, Casey? You are wrong. It's not Sean Connery. It's Henry Jones.
The dad is I think his name is Henry, but the actor's name in real life is Sean Connery.
Gotcha. So I just wanted to make Casey feel bad.
You could try.
Yeah. So now, as an adult, my guilty pleasure when I'm feeling sick is definitely Golden Girls. I love me some Golden Girls.
Golden Girls?
Yes, bro. I love Golden Girls. I'm on the record officially now saying that I love Golden Girls.
Zach, I will accept you for who you are.
Hey. Listen. Give me some B. Arthur any day of the week, okay?
BR3.
B. Arthur. She plays Dorothy.
I mean, I got Betty White. That's the only one I know that is on that show.
Yeah.
Betty White was hilarious. So
she definitely made the show.
Dude,
that's for sure.
Betty White and Lake Placid was hilarious.
Sophia's hilarious in the show too. Her little one-liner zingers, and just to get after B. Arthur and Dorothy, if you will, is amazing. Fun fact: Sophia.
Tony, good call out. That was Indiana Jones's real name.
Oh,
was Henry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
See, again, I didn't get into Indiana Jones that much to follow it to that extent, but yeah.
So
what else you got, man?
From here, I don't got anything else. Right.
Okay.
We have just rambled on now for a little bit over an hour. And if you are, I'm going to go on and just kick us off with final thoughts because you don't have anything, do you?
No, I'm good, brother.
So we've talked about, Duke Tobin. We've talked about the grades for each side of the ball and special teams. We've talked about grades for coaches. We've talked about, what ifs, what if, so-and-so coach came here and kicked out Zach Taylor. Tell us what you think in the comments, right? We're here for the just crap storm that's going to happen in the comments. Please tell us. We'll join in. It'll be fun. Who cares? It's social media. We'll have fun with it. Like, comment, subscribe, share our content across all social medias. Hopefully, right? This time next week, we'll have some better news. But as it is right now, all we can say is hooday, right? And just hope and pray that the front office does something this offseason to show us they want to go back to the Super Bowl. Zach, I'll leave it to you.
All right. Well, Tony, thanks for jumping in the comments, brother. Appreciate you. Casey, next time actually show up on time and be on the show. That way we can actually hear your thoughts, not just read them. No, I'm just kidding. You're good, man. My final thought is it's January 13th, and we still haven't signed Dalton Reisner. Get the deal done. Make it happen. Let's go. And with that, thank you guys for joining us. Like Nick said, follow us on all of our social media platforms. Go to our merch shop. It's down at the bottom here. The Holiday 15, Casey's probably going to yell at me because it's still going on, I think. And then just share. Thanks for being here. And hooday.
Hooday.
Maybe. There it goes.